Luke 23. Well, let's continue with the trials of Jesus, rereading again about these 6 trials that Jesus went through. Luke is the only book that mentions Herod Antipas. Now, again, he would be the Roman tetrarch that was, he's Jewish, or partly Jewish. He comes through the line of Herod the Great, his father. And he was in charge of Galilee and Perea. And we remember him back during the days of John the Baptist. He imprisoned and killed John the Baptist. He ruled from 4 BC, when his father died, through 39. So again, notice he's not much longer than after Jesus leaves the earth. He will be deposed as well. In the biblical text, he's always just called Herod. Antipas is a term we learned from Josephus, actually. He's the one who rebuilt Sepphoris, the city that Jesus and his father likely built, or part of the building project back when they were younger. It's just outside of Nazareth. He also built Tiberias, a city which still exists by the same name on the shore of Galilee. And when he meets Jesus here, when he is in town, Pilate sees that. He brings him, and Pilate and Herod did not get along, but they do after this trial. This is the trial, very briefly described in the text, as where Jesus was completely silent. He does not give any pearls before swine, as it were, knowing that anything he said would be useless. So he is completely quiet in front of Herod. In tradition, in Josephus especially, he is a vile and wicked man. Well, what we can close with is, and again, Luke adds a story that the other Gospels do not have, concerning 3 criminals. One is mentioned in actually all 4 Gospels, Barabbas, in Aramaic Bar, son of Abba, son of the father. He's likely Jesus, or another person who has the name Jesus. Matthew seems to give him the name Jesus Barabbas, as though the question of Pilate was, which Jesus do you want to be freed? He's called in the text a notorious prisoner, a robber, and a murderer in the insurrection. So all these are quite common to the social world of the first century AD in Israel. These insurrectionists like this were kind of Robin Hood-like guys who would go around causing Rome trouble. And so when it came to the question, which Jesus do you want to have freed, we could have predicted that they would have wanted this Jesus, because, again, he is opposed to Rome. So it's not surprising that in the question, which Jesus do you want to have given back to you, they ask for Barabbas. He's never mentioned outside of the Bible. But the other 2 thieves, then, we hear this story only in Luke, where one of the thieves says, as he's about to die, "Remember me when you come into your kingdom." Now that's interesting because he uses words familiar to Jesus' ministry. Jesus, again, isn't asking people to get saved and go to heaven when they die. His ministry is all about the authority that Jesus has brought to the earth through Yahweh to bring in the kingdom of Yahweh to the earth. And so when he talks about this kingdom idea, remember me when you come back into your kingdom. Again, very Jesus-like terms. I think that evidences that this thief was probably not just familiar with Jesus, but he was likely even a follower of Jesus to some degree. The word that is interesting then that Jesus says to him is, "You will be today with me in Paradissos." Now that's a Persian loan word meaning enclosure or garden. Here's a quote from the Anchor Yale Bible Dictionary. "The biblical Garden of Eden led to conceptions of a paradisaic garden. Thus the development of Paradissos within Judaism was aided by the image once again of a special garden, Eden, free of any trouble or inconvenience, in which the human race and divine beings were close and collegial." So Paradissos, transliterated into paradise, is better translated as a remembrance of the beauty of the Garden of Eden. So that's, again, a picture of, or a word picture of what death would be like for this person here. "You'll be with me in Paradissos." So two things to consider here, both having to do with where this thief went and, again, how it reflects on our bigger story of the Bible. Let's go back over again what we've known about death and how that works. Two questions. Was this what we have come to call in our modern terms a deathbed conversion? What's interesting, and let's just again kind of recap where we've been over these many videos when it comes to how to be a convert or how to be right with God, how to guarantee your future after death, those kind of questions. Never have we had a conversation in context, a careful conversation about doing something just before you die so that you can guarantee your afterlife, right? That's just never been a conversation. So any talk of a deathbed conversion is going to be out of context. We're going to have to find a story or an illustration that, oh, by the way, kind of a one-off in the story of how that would work, and this is the one most commonly referred to. Can you say something to God? Can you feel repentant? Can you change your mind, whatever, right before you die, and guarantee your afterlife? The problem in quoting this story is we do not know this man's prior relationship to Jesus. Again, the fact that he talks about being remembered in his kingdom gives evidence to us that he must have heard Jesus speak before this. And so my suspicion is, for me, is that he was, before he was placed on this cross, for whatever reason, again, Rome put a lot of people on crosses, that he was quite possibly a Jesus follower, and thus he would not have been a good candidate for a deathbed conversion, if indeed that's even an idea. The second thing to think about in terms of the big story of the Bible is, where did this man go after death? Did he go to a garden? Well, I would take this word to be a picture, a word picture of his afterlife. The bigger question, or a better way to say it, would be, is a person who dies in Christ, in faith, in loyalty to Yahweh and Jesus, do they stay conscious after death? Here's where I would simply use the word apparently, because we have this kind of a story. We have Jesus telling Martha, the sister of Lazarus, he that lives and believes in me shall never die. And so we have numerous indications. Again, we never have a story in context that talks about the afterlife, but we have enough indications like this that I would be comfortable saying and thinking that when a person dies in Christ, they do remain conscious. So I just use the word apparently. The way I would say it, though, and this is what encourages me, is, and I think this is the biblical story, is if I can trust God with my life, I can certainly trust him with my death.